The following episode of the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters was originally broadcast on August 30th, 2022.
Aloha, and welcome to the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters radio show. I'm Pamela Timpot, president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, and we're pleased to have this show sponsored by Mokulele Airlines. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the Chamber and welcome Cindy Paulos of KAOI as our first guest. And then we're going to learn a little bit more about one of the Chamber's newest members in video production. So, Cindy, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Got the birds outside, the sun shining, and everything's wonderful.
It really is. Aren't we blessed to live in Maui?
Yes. Yes, we are.
It is such a gorgeous day today, and we are so thrilled to get to talk a little bit about the Maui Chamber of Commerce and things that we've got going on.
Well, Pam, I have to say, I never realized before I got to know you well how many things you do have going on. My mind boggles, you know. It is so good to be able to juggle so many wonderful things that are happening, and all of them important, aren't they?
They are all really important. Yeah, and, you know, it's funny because often, you know, I really appreciate you always asking about what's going on at the Chamber, because one of the things that we often hear is we don't spend enough time sort of telling our story or let people know what we're working on behind the scenes.
So true. So true. And I know I've been back and forth texting you a lot, and I know that you've been super busy working with the Chamber's candidate endorsements. So, I mean, I know kind of the idea, but can you tell me what's going on with that? What's that about?
Well, it's something that we've been doing now for a couple of decades, and it's actually started with the former Chamber president, Lynn Woods. And what we realized is that back then, you know, there weren't as many endorsement groups as there are now. Over the years, many other groups are now getting into endorsements. And, you know, primarily it started with you always saw the union endorsements. And what the Chamber realized is that it was in sharing the voice of business and the work that we do with legislation, it was also really important for us to look at doing endorsements as well. And the reason being is each group that does endorsements from their own perspective. They're looking for candidates that are aligned with their view. And the Chamber felt it was really important to look for those candidates for office that are business-friendly, that are open and willing to hear from the people, whether they agree with all Chamber positions or not. We're looking for candidates who are open to listening to the community, understand that they represent us all, that care about, you know, having a diversified economy, that care about sustainability like we do, and, you know, realize the role that small businesses and all businesses play in our economic diversification, in our sustainability, and in employing the people of Maui. And how important it is to understand what businesses face, as well as understand economic conditions. And so years ago, we, through the leadership of Lynn Woods, the Chamber began doing a candidate endorsement process so that we could best give a voice to our business members, which in Maui County is predominantly small businesses.
Well, you know, Pam, I think it's so important that everyone vote. And we were hoping for a little bigger turnout at the primaries, as you know.
Yes.
And I kind of always debate why we don't get more people voting in the primaries. And sometimes one of the factors, I think, is that people just don't know. They don't know enough information where they feel qualified to vote. I mean, I think there's many other elements involved, but I think it's great that people have as much information and are armed with as much knowledge as possible to make an informed decision.
Absolutely. That's so true, Cindy. And I think that it's when people get more information, and again, they're getting it from many different angles, they'll see something that sparks their interest. Of course, we had the lowest voter turnout in the state. Unfortunately, it was under 35% for the primary. Now, the primary is always lower than the general, and of course, that's definitely a partisan ticket. So, people also, are choosing by party, and at that time, they don't get to see all of their options. They get to see the partisan ticket at that point in the primary. So it's always an interesting thing. We always see in a presidential election, of course, we see more voter turnout. But in these other intermediate elections, it's really important that people come out. This is, to me, the most important election that I have seen to date in my many years of being not only involved with the Chamber, but just being a resident on Maui. It's a really critical time in the direction of where we're going. We're coming out of a pandemic. How we plan ahead for the future, who's doing that planning, what areas of economic development and community development and supporting our social fabric and keeping Maui, where they stand on these issues is critically important. And this is a really important time. So my great hope is that more people are going to come out for the general election. My great hope is between now and the general, people are going to learn more about the candidates. They're going to see more information presented. They're going to have a heightened sense of wanting to understand more and looking at forums and media coverage and really engaging and getting involved, because now is the time. There have been many controversial issues over the years. There's always going to be controversial issues, but this is a critical election in Maui's history. And so this is a pivotal moment where we really want people to get involved and come out and vote.
I absolutely agree. And it's interesting, you see so many ads on TV, and of course we have the ads on the radio, and so many things. And that, to me, is only a reason to explore more, and not to necessarily just decide on ads or mailers or things like that, because those don't always tell you the whole truth. They're just, just a definition of something, of course, to try to get you to vote for someone, but there's a story behind each of those names you see. So I know you have spent so much time, and I'm sure you've learned a lot in having a chance to find out more. And of course, by doing this, it just helps other people to kind of, okay, this is this angle, this is that angle. And I know everyone's busy like you are too, but this is a chance for everyone to try to really get an overall, a little bit more informed by the information that's out there. And I thank you for that, because I know the amount of work and time you've been putting into this. I do.
Thank you. Well, and really, we couldn't do it without our membership. I do not score. I am there to make sure the process is fair and consistent, and make sure that that everybody has all the time that they're allotted. We publish our endorsement process with the candidates and with those doing the review. Actually, it's our chamber members who participate in the process and interviewing the candidates. And so many business people have taken time out of their very busy days to interview the candidates. Now, you can't just interview them onesie-twosies. To score a race, you have to interview all candidates in the race who met the requirements for being interviewed. So this year, they had to complete a questionnaire, and then they also had to schedule an in-person interview with us. And we reached out to them a minimum of 5 times. In many cases, we reached out considerably more, and we outlaid the process to them as we do every year, so they understand what the process is and what it takes to participate. And it's a half-hour interview, plus they had to answer a questionnaire with, on average, about 12 questions for each questionnaire. Some had 13, and they need to respond to those in writing. But we've had business people who have taken hours out of their day in these very busy times, during times of worker shortages, recognizing the importance. And they learn a lot. They learn a lot about the nuances of differences between what the county council's role is, different from the administration's role, different from the state role, different from the federal roles. They learn about candidates in a way that maybe they've never seen them in that light. And sometimes, we're nonpartisan, non-sectarian, so we don't ask anybody about their political affiliation. All we do is ask that if they're actively a part of a campaign, and it doesn't mean everybody's going to contribute to different campaigns. We're not looking for that, but we can't have people score if they're actively a member can't score an individual that they're actively a member of a campaign of. So we have to kind of weed that out. But sometimes people have a certain perception of who they think they want to vote for, and then they hear other candidates, and it changes their minds.
Absolutely. Well, on top of that, I can't believe... I'm sorry, that's my watch saying I'm doing yoga. I did do yoga, but...
That's awesome. You are great at leveraging your time. I need to be... I'm not that not only talented, well-balanced to do those two things at once.
Well, I can't believe how quickly the Made in Maui Festival is, and I guess that's going through transformations again, too, and I have always supported it and loved it. And I've been telling people already I'm talking to, it's like, hey, don't forget, you can get all of these wonderful gifts that you need. I was just telling a business owner yesterday saying, don't forget to get out there to Made in Maui. But that's going through a lot this year as well, right?
We are spending a lot of time gearing up for this year's Made in Maui County Festival. It is going to be the 9th annual, taking place back live again at the MAC. But we also want to thank the County of Maui, to now come back this year after 2 years of doing virtual, and to come back at the MAC, and with rising prices across the board. We realized with the funding that we received, it would have meant we might have had to lose the virtual component. But thanks to the administration, the mayor, and the Office of Economic Development, they have found the additional money so we can do both the live and virtual components, because over the last 2 years, we've built up a strong virtual audience, both in terms of people who love Maui and can't come and want to shop, as well as national and international buyers and distributors who can't make it to the show, but this is a way that they can connect with these local companies. So, long term, it's also not only local sales, but the exporting of products that really helps companies grow and create more jobs here and sustain their business. So we are deeply appreciative that we're going to have a hybrid event this year, and people are really excited to get out again and come to the festival.
I think this year, Pam, I was out and around and I've been checking things out. I think there are more people than ever, partly because of what happened maybe during COVID, but I think there's more people than ever who've decided to do their own business, be their own entrepreneur, and develop their own interests. Have you noticed that there's more people involved in wanting to do that?
Absolutely, and we still have some spaces available, but so we're still encouraging people to apply. But what's been interesting is that a quarter of our applicants this year were actually new entrepreneurs.
Wow.
That we haven't seen before, and so a lot of new business startups. And the bankers and the credit unions are seeing a lot of, lots of new startups getting started, and we keep hearing the reports of new entrepreneurs coming forward. But it was interesting to see, and it's really interesting to see in this industry, in manufacturing, it's such a broad industry, and the level of creativity across all levels of manufacturing, from art to jewelry, to food manufacturing, beverage manufacturing. There's so many exciting things happening, and we've got people who are selling a lot of recycled products that they're making in new ways. That's a lot of fun to know. We've got new tea growers coming out, and just the array of phenomenal products. There's always something for everyone. And, of course, we do this show early in November so you can get all your Christmas shopping done. And if you're like me and you're short on time, it's great to go to one place and find so many, just different items that you can't find everywhere in the shops all the time. You get these specialty, locally made products just in time for Christmas to send extra special gifts to your family and friends.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was also talking to a friend and saying, don't go to Amazon. Sorry, Jeff Bezos, But there's a place for Amazon, but you know what? It means so much more to people if you get a gift, whether it's local or you're sending it to the mainland or internationally. If you get a gift that's made here on Maui, it's something people really care about and cherish. Very different than just sending a gift card or something like that. A huge difference.
Yeah, no, it truly is. And my apologies, folks, if you could hear that. My daughter is one of my breakthrough phone numbers, so even though the phone was off, it comes through. She's on the mainland, so my apologies.
I understand. Life happens. Hey, I also know that, speaking of local businesses, and I know, we talk about it often, how there was such a tsunami after effect, which we're still seeing nationally, of course, and internationally, with businesses trying to handle the economics and the inflation and all the huge waters and figure out the way to get through some of the challenging things that happened during COVID. And, even though a lot of COVID rules have changed for businesses, there's a lot of people still struggling. And I know I was so happy to see that you're still working to try to help people with relief with the micro business programs.
We are. We were very blessed with the County of Maui that when COVID hit, they reached out to us and said, we know that small businesses are going to be hurt. What can we do? And coming out of the Great Recession in 2008, where there was no business relief, and we saw major corporations getting relief, but not smaller businesses. And in Maui and Maui County, what would be considered small businesses on a national level were micro businesses by those standards. So we knew that micro businesses, which are a majority of our members by national standards, would be struggling, and we didn't know what kind of federal government funding was coming down the pike. We heard there would be some, but we jumped in with the county very early on, and from the concept of the microbusiness loan program to instituting a loan program that would be tracked over 5 to 7 years for return payments at a 0% interest rate. The county gave us a 0% interest rate, which was really wonderful. We needed to do something urgently. So from discussion to after approval, from 9 days after they said, we think this is a great idea, we, in 9 days, had the website up and were ready to take applications. And we were very thrilled to have great support from the County of Maui at that time. And we rolled with that program, and we gave out loans up to $25,000. But they were actual loans, and that funding was different because it was so early on. We were actually using funds from the county. So but the good news is when federal dollars came down, that didn't hamper our folks from applying for the federal dollars through the EIDL loans and the PPP or the restaurant revitalization or any of the other programs. We then also went on to do a commercial mortgage and rent relief program for the businesses who were really struggling with commercial mortgages and rent when their operations were closed down. So unlike the Great Recession, we had everything shut down, for a period of time. And so that was a tremendous help when they still were accumulating rent and mortgage payments. And then we went on to assist through the Farmer and Rancher program to help farmers and ranchers who were also struggling get needed relief. And those two programs were federal funding, so they were pure grants. So at the end of the day, our great effort to help micro businesses, which we got to do. I mean, we did get the help to them, and to this day they still tell the stories, and they deeply appreciate that they have this lending at 0% interest, so they're able to pay it back. It's affordable, it's staggered out. We still recognize, though, that they're still paying. So the smallest of the small are still paying, where in many other cases, bigger businesses got grants. And these are the folks that are hardest hit, right? They don't have that same structure. So we are working with the mayor, and Mayor Victorino is working on relief for that. And we truly hope to see that program gets relief, because while others have grants and are able to move on, these individuals are still paying something. And if we can relieve that debt in any way, using some other funding sources to pay that off. And some of it was relieved. There was a time a year ago where people had, there was some funding that was available, and so the county had said if we can get receipts in, we can reimburse it using this kind of funding. But it was a very short window, and we had to rush, and it was over the holidays, and people were struggling to find their receipts because they were so busy running their business.
Yeah.
So while many got relief, not all got relief. And so our goal now is working with the county to see what we can do so that the smallest of the small businesses who got the microbusiness loan program can also see the relief that others had through the granting program.
That is so important. Just remind people, what does define a micro business? I can't remember.
Well, there's no really great standard. The small businesses by the SBA can be 100 or fewer employees. But also there's other revenue avenues that they look at and different models for how much revenue you make to be defined as a small business. But that model doesn't really hold true. And many years ago, when after joining the Chamber in 2006, I think it was around 2008, we were talking so much about small businesses. And the Chamber arbitrarily, for us, defined small businesses as 25 or fewer. Now, we had less 25 or fewer companies before 2008. When 2008 hit and we saw the Great Recession, some of our companies who maybe had 50 employees suddenly were down in the 25 or fewer range. Mm-hmm. And with the prolonged recession, that being a very long recession, we saw some of those stay in that range and not bounce back up because of modernizations they needed to make. Then, of course, you get to what's occurred with the pandemic. And again, we've seen a lot of pivots, both in terms of people pivoting their business model, in terms of people pivoting to technology. We've also seen a lot of people exiting the workforce or moving into the gig economy and doing their own thing. So, but definitely when you're talking 25 or fewer, by the national standards, 25 or fewer, which we locally on our scale we're defining as small businesses, those are definitely micro businesses. And it doesn't have to be 25, or fewer employees. Some have programs we saw in doing the modeling said 50 or fewer employees for micro businesses. So there's kind of different programs across the nation, and it depends on what model you look at. But we were looking at 10 or fewer as micro businesses for this program.
Well, and I can't help but wonder. I have conversations with almost every person I know who owns a business who needs employees about what happened to the workforce. It's a huge topic, of course. But I think a lot of those people, and this is my guess from talking to a lot of people and observing, is that a lot of those people may have gone out on their own and are just one person doing what they want to do in maybe a different kind of way, trying to take the chance of doing what they want to do. And then it's interesting. You think you can do it on your own, but then when you encounter what we've been encountering, I'm sure some of these people might be reaching out to other people for help and to you, and maybe really a lot of time at the banks or creditors, and it's a rocky road and big waves as well when you're doing it on your own. And I'm sure some of them have probably reached out to you. If you encountered small business people and even just one or two business people doing their own business now, trying to figure out how to get help.
Yes, absolutely. And there's a lot of things I would say to new startups. Most people start a business based on a passion or a need that they see, but often it's a passion, and that's wonderful. What I always encourage them, though, is everybody talks about start with a business plan, and you need a business plan. But before you need a business plan, you need to really assess the market. Is there a market for your idea? And are you understanding what your customers expect for that market? So I always start the business plan with the research on developing the market, which helps you determine, the types of services you're going to offer, at what price points. That's key to understanding what it's going to take for your business to survive. and how you're going to reach those people and get customers in. And then, of course, the business plan. And MEO has the Core 4 business planning program, which is awesome. We also have Wayne Wong of the Small Business Development Center who consults with people, and that, given their funding from the SBA and the University of Hawaii, that funding is for free. We work with people as well. While the Chamber is more about businesses who are in business. So if you're in business right now, we work with those who are in business, but MEO and the SBDC also work with people thinking about getting in business.
Okay. Interesting.
But
I didn't know that. I was not aware of that. And I'm sure you've probably encountered some of these people who are reached out to you to be in the Made in Maui Festival.
Oh, quite a bit, yes. And that's a great way, by the way, to be a part of the Made in Maui County Festival. If you want to learn what the marketplace is interested in, you're going to get amazing data through the festival. I always say it's one of the least expensive ways for a startup to learn what customers want and see customers' reaction to your products. Then also to have the opportunity to meet with wholesale buyers and distributors, you get a very broad perspective that will help you understand how your company can grow and things you might want to modify, or to know that you're exactly on the right track. It's a great market testing place. But, companies, we really encourage companies, yes, if you're a startup and you're struggling, because a lot of times the other side of this is that people know how to produce their product or deliver their service, but sometimes they don't know what it takes to run a business. They don't know about labor laws and hiring employees. They don't necessarily know about their accounting and taxes and all of those things. And so then they find, as they get started and really excited and ramping up, oh my gosh, I have these knowledge gaps. So one of the things, just a quick plug for this, is September 2nd. And we still have time to let people register. It's coming up quick. The deadline's coming up very quick. But on September 2nd, we are hosting the annual labor law. And especially now, with so many people starting up new businesses, and for bigger businesses, for employees who are spending time working from home but still connected and working for the business, the laws are changing. And so this is where we bring in experts from Tarkelson, Katz, Moore, Harrington, and Kenorick, and we bring in these labor law experts from Honolulu who have, actually, they give you, as part of this program, a sample policy manual for your company. It's all included in there, but they also talk about the emerging legislation and what case law is looking like, so you can understand and be aware of what the changing rules are and how to avoid liability and lawsuits and challenges with employee matters. So this is a great way to be ahead of the game and to learn about things that you may not have ever touched upon, especially if you're starting a small business. You might have come from a big company that had a whole HR department. Now you may be the HR department. So it's really important.
They go to the chamber. How do they get it? How do they participate in that?
Yes, you can just simply you could call us at 808-244-0081, or just go online, MauiChamber.com. Look for the banner at the head of the website that says Labor Law Seminar. Click on that; it'll take you right to the registration. It is invaluable information. If you haven't updated your policy manual in a long time, if you don't have a policy manual, this is a really important place to start. It is a full-day seminar, and when you get there, you're going to understand why. But also during lunch, you have time to actually ask experts and ask the legal team about issues and talk to them about issues. You also get one free consultation with them, and you get a book that is invaluable. The book sells for over $150 just alone, and is not sold separately outside of these seminars that they do. So you'll get a lot of important information that's critical, and especially, it's not just for business owners, it's for the top managers who are managing people. But if you're also a one-person operation, and maybe you don't have employees now, but you're looking, your plan in the next year and a half is to bring on employees, this is a good time to start and start understanding the laws and how to work with employees in the right way, as businesses are always trying to do. But there are nuances. If you've never managed before, if you've never been in HR, you won't know how to do this.
Wow.
Unless you get programs like this.
I have no idea. That is
yeah, exactly. I'm constantly learning, and I sit in every year.
I know you've got the Biz Mix Maui also. I don't know how you can do all this. Coming up in September, you've got Biz Mix Maui on September 24th, right?
Biz Mix, yes. Biz Mix is our biggest and really only fundraiser for the Chamber. It's our biggest event. We used to do an annual golf tournament, and in 2019 we switched over because there were so many community golf tournaments. And while it was a good fundraiser for the Chamber, there was really no reason to start it, but we sort of wanted to modernize and create more of a membership networking fun event. And so we planned it in 2019, we held it in March 2020. We were one of the last events. We were, I think, the biggest last event held in Maui County live prior to COVID. And thankfully, we can say we didn't hear of anybody getting COVID as a result of that. But just a week and a half later, we were shut down. So it was a great event. We did it at UHMC. We just really want to thank University of Hawaii Maui College for letting us use the grounds. We had a phenomenal time. It was food stations and fun, working with the culinary program, as well as our Made in Maui County Festival vendors and other local restaurants. And it was a great event, and a very windy night that night, which was crazy, and cold. So we had issues there. But we are bringing it back after 2 years of not being able to do it. We're coming back, and we are thrilled to be holding it now at the Grand Wailea on September 24th. This year's theme, the first year was Emergence, but this year's theme is Black and White. It is an interactive dining and networking experience with great food and food stations by the Grand Wailea and others. We will be indoors. We will be outdoors. There will be fun minglers and lots of opportunities for photo taking. So we encourage everybody to make sure their camera's ready and there's room on your camera storage. A night of fun, of dining, and later from 9 to 11 dancing. So we're going to have a band. We're going to have a lot of fun, and just it's an exciting event. We don't give away too many of the details because we want you to be surprised and inspired when you get there. But we encourage people to dress in black and white. We have many sponsorships available, and we're excited to see new sponsors coming in. And tickets are available for individuals. It's $250 per ticket, but well worth it for the phenomenal food and great location and all of the experiences you're going to have. And this is also for not only Chamber members, but non-members. It's a great way to come and connect with the community. And if you wonder about what we do and want to see who's a member of the Chamber and the kinds of people that are involved and meet new friends, all are invited to join us for BizMix, and it's on September 24th.
Well, make sure you get us an announcement on that, because that sounds like amazing. I can't believe you could do all of these things. That blows my mind. And you're also hosting that wonderful show you do on Fridays, the Aloha Spirit Show. I'm going to bow out now because I know you have another guest who actually I happened to work with years ago. Kevin Harrington has been in the video field for 30 years. He's one of the best. I always see him down there at the biggest names he videotapes. Say hi to him for me because he's wonderful. I've known him for years, and I'm glad you're going to get a chance to talk to him.
Me too. And thank you, Cindy, so much. And thank you for always being interested in all of our programs. And thank you so much for hosting, on KAOI Business Matters. We could not do all the things we're doing without, and Business Matters without the great platform that KAOI offers to our community to share what we do. So thank you so much for helping us do that this morning.
It's my pleasure, and I always learn so much. I learned today about things I had no idea about, So, I'm really grateful. I love hearing about what's going on. And, again, Made in Maui is the first week in November. Is that the first weekend in November?
First Friday and Saturday, yes. Always the first Friday, Saturday in November. So the 4th and 5th this year.
Wonderful. Okay, well, I'll talk to you soon, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cindy. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye.
Aloha, thank you. All right, well, we're going to take a brief moment to hear from our sponsor, Mokulele Airlines.
Mokulele Airlines operates the largest commuter airline hub in the country, right here in Kahului. Fly Mokulele from Kahului to Molokai, Lanai, Hana, Waimea, Kona, and now Hilo. Mokulele also operates the only flights between Kapalua and Honolulu. There is never a middle seat on Mokulele, and every seat has a window and aisle. Visit mokuleleairlines.com and take your next flight from the newly renovated Mokulele Terminal.
All right, and we're back. And I know Kevin Harrington is going to be joining us shortly, but just really want to thank Cindy. It's so wonderful that she does so much for our community, and she and I always connect, and she's always interested in what's happening and what's new at the Maui Chamber of Commerce. So it was really great to have her on the show this morning and to get to talk about some things. One of the things that we hear most at the Chamber, sadly, is that we need to do more promotion, and many people don't realize all the things that we're doing. And, I take ownership of that as the president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce to say, okay, we need to spend more time talking about what we're doing. Different segments of our community who participate in different programs, whether it's a business mixer through Business After Hours or an event like BizMix Maui, our big annual fundraiser, or it's Made in Maui County Festival, or it was the programs that we offered during COVID. We get to segments of the community through the work that we're doing, and sometimes we don't take the time to let everybody know about all the things we're doing. We're just so busy doing. Right now, the Chamber is a very stealth two-person operation. However, we are looking for a third position. So if you are interested in working for a dynamic organization that we work hard, but we support so many different industries. In fact, we represent all industries across Maui Island, and we help and support small businesses as well as to industry-specific programs like the Made in Maui County Festival, work with our construction industry through our Construction Industry of Maui Trade Council, work with PRMA, the Professional Rental Management Association group that does condominium rentals. There's so many things that we do to help different industries and to help small businesses and to help them grow and succeed, get them to either in-house consulting through us or consultants through others, as I mentioned, through the MEO program, the MEO Small Business Development Center, the SCORE program. We're always here to support businesses, both small and large. Again, the majority of our members are small businesses, but we're here to support the business community, always working in the areas of supporting industry, but also, in the areas of ensuring that we support our industry in ways that benefit the entire community. We look at sustainable growth. We look at improved management, as we're doing right now with the visitor industry. We look at economic diversification, and we want to sustain Maui for our local residents and our local community. And to do that, jobs are a big part of that. And so our goal is to help businesses grow and succeed and provide a variety of, diversified and wage jobs that help them better live in this very tough place to live, given our high living wage. And so we're working very hard on that each and every day, and really appreciate the community's participation in our many different programs. And then we're always excited to welcome new members. So speaking of new members, we have Kevin Harrington on the line.
Hello.
Hey, Kevin, aloha, and good morning.
Aloha, Pam. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my gosh, I'm so glad to have you. And I was just talking with Cindy Paulos, who said, tell Kevin I said hi.
Oh, yeah, we go back, don't we?
Well, the two of you go back, and when she said 30 years, I was thinking, well, I don't know that I've known Kevin 30 years, but I know it's been well over 20.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I've been meaning to be a chamber member for quite a while, and it just sort of got busy and just let it slide a little bit. But now I'm glad I'm a chamber member.
Well, we're so glad to have you as a chamber member. And you've really been in the video business for many years. Tell me how long it's been since you've been doing video production and how you got started.
Okay, sure. Well, it all started when I've always liked, I'll just give you my little story. So I've always liked filmmaking, and we had Super 8 back then when I was growing up, and my parents had a Super 8 camera, and I, shot movies and this and that. But then my dad bought me a camera one Christmas, and I started doing home movies, surf movies for my friends. And when we did try, I grew up in San Fernando Valley, in California, and did a lot of surfing and did trips to Mexico and made films and all that kind of stuff. So, but I moved to Maui and hooked up with Bob Ramaker of Video Concepts. I don't know if you know him.
Yes, I do.
Yes, and he actually passed away 3 years ago. He moved to Colorado in 2006. So to make a long story short, that's what got me started on Maui, and it's been probably 25 plus. And I'm on my business now is Harrington Productions, and I'm owner, operator, and basically, we like what we do is, how businesses and marketing directors are always trying to find new sales projects. Well, we help marketing directors, business owners track more prospects by creating engaging video that tells their unique story and explains their products and services in a way that conveys trust and acceptance. And, video is such a big thing nowadays. It's just constantly growing with people doing social media and YouTube videos and all that. So, it's my passion, and I like being in business.
Well, you do a great job. I hope you've got videos on your website, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, because you have been doing this for so many years. And I just want to encourage any marketers or ad agencies, if you're not familiar with Kevin, which, again, he's been doing this for so many years, I kind of find that a little hard to believe. But if you're not, you should reach out to Kevin and learn what he's doing. And I love that you mentioned the social media part of it now, because, of course, everybody now, especially with Instagram, and everybody's doing these video segments. So I know you've been a big part of that. So one of the things is some of these clips are kind of short, but they're important. So how do you help people maximize their time and get these filmed?
Yes. People, one part of the video process for me, and we primarily do more long-form videos and, of course, television commercials. We do a lot of television commercials. We just did one for Sabato Studios. It's on the air now on Spectrum. But getting and let's say a brand video, which is sort of a company video, which is 3 to 5 minutes. When we finish that, we help the client get more eyes on it. Because if you make this a great, fantastic video and nobody sees it, it's no good. So there's ways, that optimizes the video to get more looks. Especially obviously on their website, but then of course they can post it on social, and then there's all these other things that you get in the weeds with tag words and taglines. I'm saying the wrong term anyway, but just basically optimizing the video. But as for social media, the shorter ones, yes, we can cut up a little brand video and make smaller videos, because social media pertains to people who have a attention span that's not as long, so they want to, you need to get to the point. So, we can cut them down to smaller videos, or a lot of bigger companies have their own team, and they do that themselves. So, that's good too. So there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. But one really good thing about video, especially a sort of anchor company video, is that when it's on your website and if it's done right and effective, it can do a lot of the selling for you. So you're actually saving money and time by answering questions to your prospects or your clients before you even have a sales call or this and that. So in that way, video is it's just what people get their information by video nowadays. I mean, we're sort of hardwired as humans. We're sort of hardwired to love stories. So we love a story, a really good story, and that's really important.
It really is, and not only are you an excellent storyteller, but I love that you said, and again, so many companies are using video on the website to promote, but I also love that you brought up it is a very effective way to not only let people connect, and connection's really important, right? And so video is so important at making that connection. And when people see your company video, now they see you. They see you. They hear your voice. They see your gestures. They get a sense of your spirit. And so they make a deeper connection through video.
Yeah.
And then you talked about, on top of that, how, again, there's so many companies. It's interesting to see. You can kind of look from website to website at times, and you brought up about how you can proactively answer somebody's question before that comes up. And I think to the times that, how many of us, we need something done, or, we're wanting to learn about something. So first thing is we Google it, right? Or you're Googling a company. And when you get to those videos that when you're looking to buy a product or service, and they already answer your questions before you're watching it, and you're thinking, oh, yeah, I was thinking that. Wow, okay, that's answered, check. Okay, that's answered, check. Okay, sure makes the sales a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and then you can talk about companies can do multiple type of videos to address multiple products and services, but also multiple questions also.
Right.
So it is the way that people are getting information now. I mean, I think there's a stat that says 85% of online viewing is video or something like that. Yeah. And
wow.
Here's a really good quote from a book. It's called The Visual Sale, and it's a really good book. And says the real power of video is to show rather than just tell how your company has the best products and services. So that's what hits it on the head.
Yeah. No, I really, as we're watching social media change, as we see new avenues, and now TikTok is so prevalent, right? which started as...
I don't know about TikTok.
What's that?
I don't know anything about TikTok.
Well, I imagine you wouldn't, because you do such high quality stuff, and TikTok seems to be a lot of people sort of shooting themselves doing things. But what's interesting is people are talking about, getting professional video now for TikTok, especially in the business realm. I mean, you've got businesses now saying, hey, we haven't used that necessarily as a traditional tool, but they see it emerging, and they're now saying, okay, but again, corporations, they don't want to necessarily do something off the cuff because they want something professional. They want to make sure it represents them well and their brand. So we're starting to hear new people say, hey, I know these are short clips, but, I think one of the things they could do with you on these short clips is they could film different ones for different things. And it could be a great way to have that professional look that's on brand for them without them necessarily filming it themselves.
Yeah, and keep that connection with their audience, their target audience. Yeah, what you mentioned about doing it, that you're doing it yourself. Everybody. Video can be expensive. There's no doubt. Depending on it's sort of a big scale. From just because of the complexities of shoots and locations and crew members. It all depends. But if somebody wants to get, to do it themselves, well, that's totally understandable, right? But really, though, you really need something professional because people have grown up with video. They watch movies. They see quality when they're watching TV, and they subconsciously see quality. So if your video looks like it's the lousy lighting, or it's just using a phone, which although phones nowadays have great video, but if they just sense that it's not of good quality, that's sort of going to turn them off, right from the beginning. So it's advantageous to call a professional and talk with them and see how we can help.
That's so true. I think, again, like you said, and you sort of started with this too, right? That we're so used to a video world. And so we're attuned to always seeing really good quality video on television, and so that makes all the difference in the world. The other thing I wanted to share, and it also applies to different industries in marketing as well. For example, printing. When you print something, and you're printing something in full color, and you can maximize the print press if you work with your printer to understand how to maximize the printing space. So advanced planning, if you know you're going to need to do multiple pieces, is really advantageous and can save you a considerable amount of money versus, okay, I need something this month, and the next month I need X, and then, down the way I'm going to need this. You do that for video, too. Oh, Kevin, I see we're going to have to get off real quick. Can you give everybody your website?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's www.harringtonprovideo.com.
Thank you so much, Kevin. We've enjoyed having you. That's all the time we have for Business Matters.
Hey.
I'm wishing everybody a beautiful Maui day. Aloha.